9 hours of entertainment. What was that? Roughly 500, yeah, 500 and roughly, what is this, 56 minutes of entertainment or something like that from the Lord of the Rings trilogy from Peter Jackson himself. And oh boy, that was truly a legendary ride of epic high fantasy proportions. It's like the return of the king, Mr. Aragorn himself, portrayed by Viggo Mortensen. Make the character from a ranger who's got a little bit of an attitude, but starts to befriend an elf and a dwarf. And is like eventually, what's his future? Oh, he gets some receives some praise from Theoden, and eventually becomes the king of Gondor. That's what the dead will only answer to. Very specifically, the king of the dead. He, in my opinion, received the most development. Of course, you have the four hobbits with Frodo getting influenced by the ring, and of course Gandalf being from Gandalf the Grey to the White, who is resurrected. And yes, I think that this was the most truly an epic, legendary ending to an epic in every sense of the word, trilogy. So dang good was it that when this one was up for 11 Academy Awards, it received all 11 of them. And I'm just like, hot dang, F yeah, it deserved it. This one here, the stakes are raised. We had a great battle at Helm's Deep. The Helm's Deep battle, as is the second title. But now, war is going to break out. And we have Minas Tirith happening at the White City, and we also have the personal battles going on between that schmuck Gollum and Frodo and Samwise. It's like, what is Gollum trying to do? He's trying to reclaim his precious. And he's trying to just ensure that no one else takes it. So what does he do? He plans to lead our heroes up through some stairs to Cirith Ungol. Also a great epic heavy metal band. Give him a listen. He causes dissension, like with food and everything between the two hobbitses, and it ultimately just leads to them just getting apart from each other. And I'm like, yes, this is the more of the character growth, study, development, whatever you want to call it. That was the final touch that was needed. And of course, Shelob is an absolute monster who freaking easily a 6 to 8 foot tall arachnid that leaves her prey to just be in a catatonic state. Yeah, she was a menace to say the least. And we even get some growth from the other two, a Fool of a Toog, I believe, where he serves the steward, like singing a song and doing what he can to protect the city. I think he even manages to slay one orc, which was pretty cool. But it's like we get to see his growth, which I'm just like, hot dang then. But of course, you're not here for that. You're here for what is the war going on. It's like roughly 8,000 to 10,000 men versus all the orcs from the Black Gate. That was what a sight to behold, just to see so many of them. Absolutely insane. Just the odds and the numbers. It's like we have the Uruk High and the Uruk Low. Refer to my previous review for what I mean by that. And the stakes here are freaking phenomenal on the personal level, and ascending to being a king, and also on just everything happening in the third age of Middle Earth. And as you can tell, I freaking love this movie. I really don't. There was like the one thing that, which I'll get to in a little bit, that is divisive amongst people. Finally, we get to see Sauron. Thank you. Yes, we get the towers. And I'm like, okay, yes, there are the towers. There's only one or whatever. So it's like, whatever. I do not care. It was just a dang good conclusion. You know, the music's great. The theme, the scores, everything works so damn good. And I gotta say, yeah, this definitely deserves an award for truly amongst some of the best freaking special effects. You know, the dragons, that freaking witch king of the Nazgul. Ooh, he was a menace too. Let's not forget that. You know, he looked absolutely intimidating. And then again, he gets taken out by a powerful woman and and one of the halflings. And I'm like, well, maybe that's how it went in the book. I don't know. And honestly, I'm fine with that. But of course, the way out to Mountain Doom itself is just the being affected by that ring. Right as he's about to drop the darn thing, he will say, "No, the ring is mine." Doesn't drop it, and puts it on, and just the showdown with Gollum is just, we all know what it is. Goes down, finally gets his ring for about 5 seconds before he's engulfed by the lava, and then the ring itself finally engulfs. Then the lava engulfs the ring, and everything just then all the bad guys are defeated. I forgot how amazing and beautiful it was. It was a sight to dang behold. Oh yeah. Freaking perfect movie, except for the length. 3 hours and 20 minutes. With the internet, they're like starting to gain some more prevalence. People were saying, yeah, this movie was freaking phenomenal, but it was so long. Oh my word. Did I get a little tired of the length? Maybe could have cut it down to like maybe 3 hours, but I don't know. Just given the epic nature and scale of the final battle, I'll let it go. But honestly, I am kind of glad that they have that. I really don't want to say this. I'm kind of glad that some books, movie adaptations, and novels have 2 parts if it's long. Deathly Hallows did it first, and I'm kind of glad that it did, because that would have been so gosh darn boring at 4 hours. But here, this is like the crescendo of part 3 being the longest, and it's like, okay, everything fit in here well. Yeah, you know, Elijah Wood was like, they were doing like the final scene moments. They didn't really want to end it, so Jackson said, okay, do a little more, but then move on. And eventually everyone broke down in tears just because they completed something legendary and epic. And I'm like, okay then, I can see that to a point. They even got freaking Bilbo Baggins to come in. You know, he was starting to look old because of the ring not arresting his age and appearance. Now he just starts to look like 113 years old, which is, it felt like a good conclusion to have him there one more time and have Elrond, you know, they go on their own journey. That's fine. You know, everyone gets a happy ending, which was really gosh darn nice. You know, I was tearing a little bit. It was epic and well deserved, but yeah. There were some local New Zealanders who were so excited to be a part of it. Were they part of like a military or something? I'm trying to remember. They got a little too excited and broke some of like the wooden swords and shields. So those were littered all around. But yeah. The Lord of the Rings trilogy. An absolutely legendary trilogy that pretty much returned fantasy to the big screen, or pretty much just made it a standard. And, you know, of course, there's the Hobbit trilogy. Maybe I'll review it. I don't know, but you know what? For freaking over 9 hours of entertainment. I really highly recommend you watch Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Return of the King.